You feel it before you even realize what's happening. Your heart rate climbs. Your breathing gets shallow. Your hand hovers over the mouse and something inside you tightens. The trade is right there, everything lines up. You planned this, you waited for this, you said you would take this, and now that it's here, you hesitate. Or worse, you enter and everything falls apart. Let me ask you something. Have you ever taken a trade, clear setup, clear stop, clear target, and done everything right until the trade actually started moving? Price goes to $80. You don't exit, but you start watching. Every candle, every tick, your breathing changes, your chest tightens, you move the stop just a little. Price comes back to $40 relief, then drops to $120 panic. You close it manually. Not at your stop, before your stop, at a worse price than you planned, and 2 minutes later price reverses and hits your original target exactly. You weren't wrong about the setup. You weren't wrong about the entry. You just couldn't sit still while the number turned red. And that moment, that exact moment, is where most traders lose their edge. Most people think the problem is strategy, the indicator, the entry model. It's not. The real problem is what happens inside you the moment the trade starts moving against you. And until you see that clearly, no system will save you. Mark Douglas said something that most traders hear, but don't actually understand. The market doesn't create pressure. Your mind creates pressure. At first, that sounds philosophical. It's not. It's biological. Your brain was not built for trading. It was built for survival. When your ancestors saw a threat, the amygdala, the oldest part of your brain, fired instantly. No thinking, no analysis. React first, think later. That system is still running, right now, inside you. And here's the problem. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a predator in the wild and a red number on your screen. Your account feels like safety. A losing trade feels like threat. Your body reacts accordingly. Cortisol rises, adrenaline spikes, your focus narrows, your thinking shuts down. The signal to your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, planning, discipline, gets weakened. Exactly where your trading plan exists. That's why you move your stop, even when you know you shouldn't. That's why you close early, even when nothing has changed. That's why you revenge trade, even when you promised you wouldn't. You are not breaking discipline. You are being overridden. And this is where it gets even more subtle, because the reaction doesn't always look like fear. It shows up in three very specific ways. First, moving your stop, not because the structure changed, but because you cannot tolerate losing at that exact point. Second, cutting winners early. The trade is working, but you exit too soon, not to protect profit, but to protect the feeling of being right. Third, and this is the one most people miss, anticipatory regret. You're not reacting to the loss. You're reacting to the future memory of the loss, the feeling you imagine you'll have later. So you close now to escape something that hasn't even happened. Logic cannot operate there, because logic lives in the present. But your nervous system is reacting to a future that doesn't exist. And this is the moment where most traders try to fix themselves. Be more disciplined, control your emotions, stick to the plan. But that doesn't work, because you're trying to use logic after logic has already gone offline. So the real question is not, how do I control myself? The real question is, what actually happens when I lose control? There are two ways to experience a trade. The first way, the default way, is this: I am losing. I am stressed. I need to do something. You become the emotion. And when you become it, it controls you. The second way is different, and this is where everything starts to shift. The trade is at $80, and instead of, I am losing, you observe there is a number on the screen changing. There is a tightness in the chest. There is a thought saying, move the stop. There is an urge to act, but none of that is you. It's just happening. There is no trader being attacked. There is only sensation, thought, reaction, all appearing and passing. This is not about calming yourself down. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about forcing discipline. Because when you try to control the reaction, you are already inside it. But when you see the reaction clearly, without identifying with it, something unexpected happens. You don't need to control it. It begins to lose its power on its own. The urgency softens, the compulsion weakens, the need to interfere disappears, not because you became stronger, but because you stopped being entangled. And this is what most traders never experience. Not better discipline, but less interference. The market doesn't create your emotions. It reveals what was already there. And when you can see that, without resistance, without judgment, without trying to fix it, you create space. And inside that space, execution becomes possible again. Now let's make this practical, because understanding this is not enough. You need to create conditions where you can actually see it. And the most important shift is this: trade so small that your body doesn't react, not slightly smaller, not manageable risk, small enough that when the trade goes against you, nothing happens inside. Because when there is no perceived threat, the amygdala stays quiet. The prefrontal cortex stays online, and your ability to follow the plan returns automatically. This has nothing to do with making less money. This has everything to do with removing distortion. Small size is not a limitation. It is clarity. I know what your mind is saying right now. This is too slow. This isn't serious trading. I need size to make real money. But here's the truth. A trader with small size and clean execution will outperform a trader with large size and emotional interference every single time. Because consistency compounds, emotion destroys. So redefine what winning means. Winning is not making money. Winning is executing the plan. A losing trade where you followed your rules perfectly is a winning trade. A winning trade where you broke your rules is a losing trade, because the market controls outcome, but you control process, and over time process is the only thing that pays. And finally, this is the part that changes everything. When you stop making each trade about yourself, your identity, your worth, your need to be right, the market loses its psychological grip on you, not because you stop caring, but because you see clearly. This is probability unfolding, nothing more. There is price moving, there is sensation arising, there is thought appearing. But there is no self being threatened, just a process playing out. And the traders who last, the ones who actually build something real, they are not the smartest. They are not the most confident. They are not the most aggressive. They are the ones who can see clearly in the middle of uncertainty without being pulled into reaction. Start there. One trade, small size, clear plan, and just observe. Not to control, not to improve, not to become better, just to see. Because when you truly see what's happening, you don't need discipline anymore. You have clarity, and clarity doesn't panic.